Distract. This is where the persecutor creates issues that absorb the energy of Christians, and especially Christian leaders, into what is less important, so that they can't get on with their most important work. For example, insisting on unnecessary paperwork, or having too much emphasis on the church building, or creating false charges so that they bog the leader down in a legal case, maybe even causing bankruptcy, and the leader has to worry about finding the money all the time. In Sudan, the government had a very neat trick along these lines. They would ask the pastor of an evangelical or Pentecostal church to come to the police station. And they would say, well, where's your paperwork? And the pastor would have to produce it eventually. And they said, well, we'll need to keep this. We're going to examine it. And then a month or so later, the pastor would be summoned again. And they would say, where's your paperwork? And he said, I provided it to you. And they said, no, you didn't. But we'll look into it. But in the meantime, you must report to this station at 9 in the morning and 5 in the evening. So the pastors would report at those times, and they are kept waiting for hours. And that's a classic distraction tactic. They're preventing the pastor doing their job because they're stuck in the police station for 5-6 hours a day instead of visiting the people. And the other advantage of this kind of tactic is that it doesn't look like persecution. If Sudan wants to trade with the United States, it doesn't want to be blacklisted because of their terrible treatment of the churches. So they can say, no, we're fine. We're just making sure these churches are worshipping legally and safely. And it's very hard to explain what's really going on because this kind of persecution doesn't rate a headline. That's what's so good about that, from the persecutor's perspective. So what would distract look like with Jesus? Well, the temptations, of course, in Matthew 4, when he goes out into the desert and is tempted directly by Satan, are a classic instance of distract. We take the first one. Turn these stones into bread. Essentially, the devil is saying, become the answer to the hunger problem of first century Palestine. Now, if Jesus had made the central point of his ministry that of turning stones into bread, then he would have been distracted from his central identity, which is to be the Messiah, which was to tell everybody who he was and how God was bringing a new kingdom to this needy world. That's distract as it showed up in the life and ministry of Jesus.